Welcome to another episode where we spill the tea on all things Flea. From wild vendor stories to incredible finds, we're bringing you the voices, treasures, and secrets of the flea market world. So grab a seat and let's dive in. This is you, me, and the Flea. Hey Flea fam, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of You, Me, and the Flea. Happy freaking Thursday. So good to be back as always. I can't believe we are in the middle of July already. This is actually insane that I don't know. I just feel like I blink and the weekend's here. It's already like a swap weekend, and then before I know it, it's like over. So, anyways, hopefully everyone is doing well, and hopefully everyone is having fun out there, doing their thing, doing their shopping. We love to see it. But anyways, I can't help but in the summer, everyone knows me. Hopefully you know me at this point. If you don't, hi. I am Christina and I am obsessed with all things dating shows. Obviously it's the summer, so we're currently obsessed with Love Island, plus like my obsession with the UK version, plus like Perfect Match is coming up. There was like Love is Blind. Like I watch all of them, so if anyone ever wants to talk about them, please like drop some comments below. Email me, we'll chat. But anyways, all of that to be said, I feel like I've been listening to so many pods lately talk to all the contestants that are like always on these shows and kind of like interviewing them after. And that definitely led to this episode of red flags, green flags, and icks, you guys. So yeah, so who would have thought that here on You Mean the Flea, we're talking about red flags today. In visitors and in vendors. And these are things that I've accumulated from my vendor friends and also from myself just being a consumer as well. So let's get into it. The first we're going to do shoppers first. So the first shopper red flag I have is the over-negotiator who won't even budge a dollar. Okay. And so what I like hate about this one in particular is that like, have you ever had someone who, okay, like my vendors were talking about this person in specifically because it's like, you know, like let's say the price of something is like $10 and they're like, oh, 5. And it's like, how about 8? And they're like, no, 5. It's like, okay, man, like if you can't like compromise or like meet me in the middle, then what are we doing here? You know, like that's kind of the part of, you know, and on the one hand, I do understand like you're firm on your price if that's what you want it for, but you just like can't get it all the time. But anyways, that's kind of a red flag and an ick for me. It's like if you're so stern that you can't like come down a little or like meet somebody somewhere, you know what I mean? Or like hash it out, talk it out. I don't know, kind of icky. Okay, the next red flag, people who leave items in random booths. Okay, this like is more, I think, like in the retail space, like drives me crazy. Like there's nothing more annoying when like sometimes let's say you're at Target and you're just like rummaging through the aisle and then you see someone's like Dunkin' Donuts cup there. Like, right, why is that next to like candles? Like, why are you so rude that you couldn't like keep that in your cart still, or like just wait until you can throw it away, like for that example, or just, you know, and I have been that person and I hate being that person. I always kind of like wait to take it to the front, but like, you know, if you're like scrolling through and you're like, you know what, actually I don't need this faux plant, I'm just gonna leave it right here next to the creamers. Like, why do you do that? Why can't you just like I get it's annoying to like go back and put it back if it's like all on the other side of the like store, right? Like I can understand that, but I can't understand like just waiting to get to the front and just giving it to someone so that they can put it away, you know? Because what if somebody was looking for what you put back and then I don't know. It just creates chaos, in my opinion, and I definitely drives me crazy. So I can understand from a vendor perspective how somebody leaving something at someone's booth also drives them crazy. Even when you like forget something, because then it's like their fault because you forgot like your cell phone or your like debit card, and then it's like hours later, and it's like, you get accused. So, anyways, I totally get that, and that could be icky. All right, another red flag is those who treat it like a Target. And this is like people who treat like a flea market like it's like a Walmart or Target. And like I think we've mentioned like in variety of ways how annoying it is when somebody is shopping at a flea market and saying like, "Oh, it's cheaper at the dollar store," or "Oh, it's cheaper on Amazon," or "Oh, it's cheaper whatever." And there's always this like weird comparison game, and it's like we don't really do that at other stores, you know what I mean? Like I've at least I've never have. Like I don't go to like DSW and be like, "Oh, these are cheaper at Walmart." Well, yeah, like Walmart's one of the lowest priced retailers in the country. So probably, but also is it the same item? Is it the same, brand? Is it the same size? Is it the same color? I don't know. So I can see how that gets like very frustrating, and also like it's not the same store, right? Like same thing with a lot of smaller businesses. You might be able to like, find the same t-shirt, but at a small business maybe they, you know, upsell it a dollar or two, who knows, like, right? I'm just spitballing here, but like if you have a t-shirt, let's say, and like, you bought it wholesale at $10, but you're selling it for 15, well, yeah, that's like the taxes, like, and that's your price, like to stay in business. And it drives me nuts that people don't like understand those things. And so, yeah, very icky in a shopper perspective. Just like, and if I guess if you do have those feelings, like, why can't we just keep them to ourselves, like, and just keep moving? Or maybe candidly tell that vendor and then like ask if they'll price match or something. Like, I've seen people do that. And I think to me, that's like way more, obviously, you're using communication skills. So it's like, that's way more of a thumbs up for me? Love that. Okay. Next one, people who don't bring cash when they know some vendors don't take cards. Okay. And this one is like for a majority of times, like, yes, there are some vendors that are moving towards like digital worlds where you can pay Venmo, they have their Zelle up there. They have like, some of them have Square. Sure. Of course, there's a handful of those out there. But for the majority, if you're coming to a flea market, like, why wouldn't you have cash? And then why is it the vendor's problem if you don't have cash? You know what I mean? So anyway, I think that's one thing like we always just kind of should note. And so then like just bring some cash. It's one thing if you run out. Okay, that's like a totally different perspective. So if you come in with a like and find some good deals, but then you found something else that you needed and you're like, crap, I don't have enough cash, then you get a pass, okay? These are more specifically for the people that like just act like we're all cashless, and that's not yet, okay? We're not there yet. Okay, the next shopper red flag would be shoppers who try on everything and buy nothing. Okay, I don't know about you, but I know for myself, when I try things on, I have an intent of buying it, like buying something. Now, like, and this goes back to like any, like, even like as a kid, right? Your mom's like, oh, we need Easter dresses. And like, you would go on and try like a ton and then, pick your favorite or whatever one fits you the best. Like, there were so many options, especially nowadays. It's like, if I'm going to take time out of my day, my schedule to like try things on, actively search for something, it's like, why wouldn't he? And I get if nothing works out, okay? Like, there's obviously exceptions to these red flags, as there are to like dating red flags. Like, but I feel like in this particular scenario, if you're like, especially at a flea market where you're like kind of utilizing someone's time, because let's face it, like, especially if you're trying on like, rings, bracelets, like, I don't know, something, and you're like actually taking like this person's like one-on-one time and like taking their attention away from like selling to someone else. Um, yeah, no, I don't know. Plus, too, like with smaller businesses and like, I don't know about you, maybe this is a me thing, but like, I always kind of feel badly if I do something like that and then I don't buy like anything. Like at that point, I'm like, I'm gonna buy some gum or something, like I just feel completely bad. So I don't know. I don't know, guys. I get it. I guess if you're like unsuccessful and like unhappy with things, and that's fine, but let's just be kind about it, you know? And not just because then I feel like people are mopey when they don't find what they're looking for and then blame it on the seller. And it's like, well, it just didn't work for you, you know? Let's just keep it cordial and moving. So that's that red flag. Okay, another red flag is the person that is always like, how much is this person for literally every single item? And then my favorite part is like, there's like a tag on it sometimes too. And this doesn't go just for like the flea market, this literally can go for like anywhere. Like, because I feel like at a flea market, sometimes if there's a price tag on something, you might be able to like, you never know because like they might have priced it and then that weekend it's priced down. So I can see at a flea market maybe like asking, oh, what's the price for this? Or like, can you do 10? Like I see like the open dialogue there, but like somewhere like again, like a bigger retailer, let's stick with like Walmart. It's like you go there and you see clear as day a sign that says $5 pajamas. Why are you interrupting someone and saying like, excuse me, how much are these pajamas? When like clearly you can see it. It's also on the tag and it's also on the sign. Like that drives me nuts. Like I'm just like, why would you do that to someone? Or like I loved as a kid all the like price tag, like little scanners. Like just walk over there and if you want to confirm that it's $5, can't you just do that there? I don't know. So red flag for me, y'all. Okay, next is a haggler who offers $1 on a $20 item and then gets mad when someone says no. Okay, I love this. I love especially, I don't know if any of you have seen like because sometimes you can see like some vendors will do like live streams of like them selling. It's becoming a little bit more popular. So if you've never done that before, like I highly recommend. Anyway, yeah, if something's like, especially if something's like an antique that is like super expensive and you're already going into it like lowballing the situation, I don't understand. Like, um, and I guess like it's very interesting, right? Because like at a flea, again, there's so many variants that, sometimes like maybe the vendor doesn't know how much the value of said item is. And so they are willing to like go down on price. But at the same time, really? I don't know. That's similar to like car shopping. Has anyone ever gone car shopping where you're like, okay, this car is $30,000 and then, the person will be like, "Oh, I'll give you 20." It's like, "What?" Like I get like I feel like especially today, maybe if like 15 years ago that would have been like a different like the MSRP maybe was like extremely like marked up and that's how people made money. I'm not like obviously an expert there, but I'm just like I really person like you think you're going to come in here and like knock 10 G's off of like whatever and like so confidently doing that. It just, I don't know, it's very weird to me. Same thing with like, bigger, like, I think the bigger items at the flea market, like, get this more than some of the smaller ones, right? Because maybe you couldn't knock off like $1 or something from like, I don't know, a shirt or like a speaker or something, but something like a lawnmower or, you know, like a refrigerator, like, I don't know, like, I don't understand how you're going in so small, you know? And maybe you got lucky on Facebook Marketplace when somebody was selling like a couch for $50, because I know I've done that before, but no one does that anymore. So it's like now they're like literally priced just slightly under what people paid for them, especially if they aren't used. Like people are keeping it at the price that they bought it for. So very interesting. And especially again, I think like these can get even worse if your attitude is worse. Like if you come in there with like some sass and you're just like demanding some of these things, oh, like that is like the biggest ick for me. So, okay, a few more here. So, the person that like tries to test or plug in electronics at a booth without asking. Okay, so yes, I agree, especially at a flea market. If you're going to buy, anything like outdoors, like a lawnmower, a trimmer, gosh, I've seen like everything. So the speakers, everyone always tests out speakers, or someone sells electronics, I can see like wanting to test it out. I would too. Like, obviously it's a flea market, so you just never know what you're getting. Sometimes most of the stuff is like, especially like some of those like bigger electronics, yeah, like they're refurbished. So yeah, I want to try it and make sure it turns on and whatever. So I get that. But like when somebody like goes behind someone's booth and just like helps themselves, no. Like no. Like this isn't your house. This like reminds me of like people that like, will take their shoes off on an airplane. Like what are you actually doing? Like you don't live here. It's not your house. Like, sir. That in itself is an ick, you guys. Like, gotta go. Got it. If that's you, I'm sorry. Like, you better hope you have socks on because that's even more gross. So, anyways, moving on. Okay, when someone leaves trash or food wrappers on a vendor's table, I mentioned this when like people leave things that don't belong on a certain table, but yeah, this one just drives me nuts too. It's like the people that like, have a piece of gum and then put the wrapper on. Like, come on. Or like a tissue. Oh my God, I would like puke. If anything like hygiene related you leave behind at a store, like you are actually the worst. Please do not do that. Like, I'm gonna just put it in your pocket or like hold on to it for one extra second. Like, so we don't have to suffer, you know? Okay. Another one, kind of similar to trying things on, but when someone takes photos of everything but buys nothing. I get a lot of looks with this one because I obviously, for, my role here, like take a lot of videos and photos. And so naturally, like people, think if they're like a newer vendor and they don't like recognize me, they're like, okay, what is this girl doing? Like, are you going to buy something? So I get a lot of like eye rolls for that specifically. However, I'm just doing my job, but I know like that, especially in recent, like since cell phones have like, are a part of our lives so regularly now. I know people like definitely won't just buy something, especially at a flea, right? Because like you might not get like a full discount. So you're sending a ton of pictures and all of that jazz. And I can see how, from a vendor perspective, that could get annoying if you're just like lifting things up, ruining the piles, taking photos, and then being like, oh, we'll come back if we're interested. I can see that being really annoying. I don't know for me if that's like a huge red flag, but it could be really frustrating. So just maybe put things away. Put things away and just be nice about it. Okay. Okay. With that, the same like red flag someone said when you say, I'll be back, but you never come back. How many times, like, you as a consumer, like, you've literally just been like, oh, yeah, we're just looking or whatever, and you're like holding this item, and then you like think about it and digest it, and you're like, actually, no, like, we don't need it. And then you just tell the vendor, oh, yeah, we'll be back. And then you never come back. Like, that has to be extremely frustrating. But they get it all the time, so I understand. But still, like, oh my God, what an egg. Okay, few more here. When someone uses loud like speakerphone or FaceTime while walking the market. I will say, like, honestly, I don't know that I see this like a ton. And it's just because like the market is like kind of loud, so I don't really know if like if people are able to hear that well. I know I really can't, like, because everyone's usually like talking, or there's lots of like music going on, or there's, so I mean, there's just a lot of noise. So I don't really see it that much, you guys. I mean, trust me, I've seen people like on their phone. I'm not saying that, but I don't know if I see like a ton of facing. But when I do see this like in other public spaces, in other public like retailers, I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. Like when someone is like on FaceTime explaining something to someone and showing them what they're wearing and like whatever, it like overstimulates me. So I'm like, how are you like enjoying this shopping process with like having a conversation at the same time? Like it really is like very interesting how that balance works. I don't know. But all right, what do we think about shopping red flags? I know we all either are guilty of some of these or have like been annoyed by somebody who does this. So, I mean, I don't blame these vendors for saying those. I think like those are like spot on. So, let's talk now some. Oh, so those were like shoppers' perspectives from the vendors. Let's talk now more of like a shopping consumer to consumer. Um, what you're annoyed like vendors' red flags, right? So jumping into those, one is no signage, no pricing, and no like energy. I totally agree. I think that's like a big red flag of something like how do I don't know, there's like no is I'm in like just reading no signage, no prices, no energy. I'm already envisioning like what this booth looks like and how like dark and boring it must feel, and I won't even go there, right? Like I'm not engaging with that because that doesn't get my attention. And so, yeah, red flag for sure. Okay, next one. Vendors eating with their backs turned when people are trying to shop. I have seen this happen before. I will say, like, it is hard for them to like sneak in a few like minutes to like eat and drink something really quickly. So I can see how this is like annoying to a shopper. I think if you like can acknowledge me to some degree, especially if I have like a question or like I'm trying to check out or something, if you can like put your hand up or like give me like a 1 second little thing, I think that would go a long way versus just like kind of like ignoring me while you like chew your whole sandwich. You know what I mean? Like there's got to be a little something. You got to give me a head nod. But yeah, I can see how that's annoying. Okay, booths was with too much clutter and no clear focus. Okay, so I can see how this can be a red flag for someone. I also can see how this can be a benefit to someone. Um, but from someone who like appreciates a little bit of organization, I think like a little can go a long way. And so I don't know. I encourage vendors to maybe have like, I can see if you have like one table that's just like full of like all your sale items or like hodgepodgey things that you want to get rid of or whatever that looks like for you. But I think a little goes a long way where maybe if you have like a couple rows of like some put together stuff, it might draw some people in. So I would say that, but that's not a full lick for me. Okay. Somebody who is not engaging with customers at all. I think that's like the whole point of the Flea, right? Like if I didn't want that experience of like talking to someone or actually working with someone like on a price or something like that, then I would just go somewhere else or like hunt online or thrift at Goodwill. Um for shopping purposes, right? And so it's like at this point like maybe give me like a little something. But I get like this is also hard too if there's like a language barrier. So it is hard to communicate, but I think people just in general enjoy like people with like some good energy and a smile even, right? Like that goes a long way with the entire experience of shopping. So give us a little something. All right. Next, when vendors are talking down about other vendors at the market. Okay, this is a good one. Um, I think this is an ick period. If someone is just talking about an employee, like in general, I think that is like so bizarre as a consumer, right? Like if I'm coming into, I've seen this like happen at like Old Navy, for example. It's like I'm shopping and I'm just like going through like the racks, for example, and you hear like two colleagues like talking about another one. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, okay, there has to be like a break room or like a better place to like rant versus right here next to like a customer. I don't know. I just kind of think it's like off. And I always like this is one thing I like definitely practice, especially like in the restaurant, for example. Like if there was an annoying customer, like I'm not talking about them in the front. Like I'm gonna go vent to the back and like, where it's not seen because at the end of the day, that person's like paying for like a service or like paying for your bill, essentially. Like they're tipping me. So like why would I say something like that or make someone feel uncomfortable even? Like let's say I wasn't talking about them necessarily, but commenting on something or, I don't know. I just don't think it's like a nice thing to do. Yeah, so that's a big red flag to me, especially like when you get involved. It's like, because I've seen that happen too, where like, someone will get involved in the drama that's going on, and I'm just like, that's even worse. I'm just like, sir, like, just keep looking at the speakers and keep moving. Let them do their thing. Okay, the next one. When booths look like a garage sale exploded. No organization, no theme. There are a lot of vendors that have this. And that's just facts. Like some of them like get there late, they just don't care, they don't know. They have to bring a table, so they're like they just throw their stuff on the floor. I've seen people just literally lift up their trunks and like have all their stuff in their trunks. Like I've seen a lot of variations of this. And as much as like I want to say like it doesn't work, I think if you are selling things for a good price, like people do like the thrill of digging. Like especially nowadays, like people are going through like the bins at like Goodwill like crazy because you never know what's in there. Um so anyways, with that being said, I don't think that's a huge ick to me. Like again, especially if you're ticking my other boxes in terms of like you have a fun booth going on, maybe you have some music, like you have like you're selling everything for $1, like I'll probably still pull through, you know? Like I'm not going to be totally turned off by that. So, I don't know. I would let that one slide, guys. Okay, the next one. Items aren't priced and you have to guess or ask every single time. Okay, I can see where this is annoying. There are some vendors that do this like pretty consistently. It is kind of annoying. Like, it's especially when like they're like dealing with someone else or whatever. It's like, well, I just want to know how much this is. Um, yeah, at least have a ballpark, maybe. I don't know. But then, are you shooting yourself in the foot? Because if someone sees it's $5 and they want to pay three, like that's happened before. So, yeah, maybe have a little. Oh, there are some vendors I will say that are really good about like maybe their things aren't labeled, but they'll tell you, when you walk up to the booth, like how much things are. That I love. So, because we're already just like engaging in that. So I love that. Okay. Signs that say don't touch at a flea market. Do we think this is a red flag? I think that if it's like something of like value, of course, like there's no need to touch something if you're like not gonna buy it, especially. Um, but some things like need to be like tangible. So for the most part, I could see how this is like icky most of the time, but from like an antique seller perspective, it's like, well, if the audience here isn't gonna buy, your $15,000, I don't know, encyclopedia for sale. Obviously, I'm making that up. But like, if they're not going to do that, then you probably shouldn't have brought that, right? Like that's not right for your target audience. So, I can see. But But that's the fun part about a flea market, I think, from like, the consumer perspective is like people want to like touch things and like test things out, or else they would just buy it online and send it back if they didn't like it. You know what I mean? So we got to do that. You got to let us touch the things, guys. Okay, we'll do a few more here. So when a booth is like dusty or musty or smells like an old basement. I have seen these two, unfortunately. I don't know why. I don't know why this is. But yeah, I think this goes kind of back to like just taking pride in like what you're selling. And so if you have like, things that this could happen like with like old books, a lot I've seen, or like again, some like antiques, like they just naturally like a copper smell in the heat, like they like throw off these like kind of scents, and then you bring that back inside and sell it, like yeah, it's definitely going to smell like musty. Or some people like inherit things from like an estate sale type of deal, and so like those naturally like kind of have some odors, like maybe they've been sitting in a house or a storage unit for a while. And so I can see how that's annoying. I don't think that's a red flag though if it's like a good item. So there's that. Okay. Overly aggressive selling. So think like when someone says to you, that would look so good on you for everything. Okay. I will say I feel like I've been a victim, if you will, to this one, where it's like, oh yeah, oh my gosh, that would go so good with your complexion. Oh my gosh, that lip gloss would be so nice on you. Or oh my gosh, that would be so like, yes. I think we've all fallen into this one. I think like one or two things, like, yeah, give me a little comment, boost my ego up a little bit. Like, yes, of course. And then I would love to buy from you, right? Like, that's customer service. That's like engaging. We love to see it. But when it's like every single thing, no, like please give me a second, or even specifically when like you're at a store and like you walk in, and I just remember like any of the like old school stores at the mall, like Express, American Eagle, all those brands, and you would walk in and it was like immediately someone like greeting you, and it was either like, what brings you in today, or like, just so you know, we have buy one get one free on jeans and 50% off tops, like let me know if you need anything or whatever. And it's like, okay, you got it. Like already your signs say that, and then your sign outside says it, so like I get it, thank you so much, um but yeah, like they're just doing their jobs, you know what I mean, like at the end of the day. But when someone's like a little overly much, you can sense that. And some people don't like that. Like, there are some shoppers that just want to shop in peace. So I can see where that's an ick. So just be mindful. All right. Um, let's see. When someone has no new items for weeks and regular shoppers notice. Okay, so I can see how this is an ick, especially if you like want to like make a brand for yourself. If you're constantly having the same old, like, and I'm a person that comes every week, I'm not even going to go to your booth then, if it's after like 3 weeks of repetitive items, what makes me think that fourth week you're going to have something new, so I might bypass you and go all the way to like the other side of the market. So I can see how that's icky, and I think from a perspective of like being a smart vendor, that like you should, move some products around, or like, do try some different lighting or something like that. I think would kind of help that situation a little bit. Okay. Let's see. So going off of like one that we like kind of mentioned, when people talk, like there's loud arguments with like their neighbors or their helpers or even like customers. Yeah, like that is a huge ick in general to me. Like, I'm sorry. Like if I'm like shopping somewhere and I like immediately see that, it makes me feel uncomfortable. Like I know I'm out. Like immediately I'm out. I just don't want to be a part of it. I'm like scared. I don't know what's going on. I don't want to see you fight with your customers, and I definitely don't want to see you fighting with an employee. Like it's not my business. I don't want like, and rightfully so, like that's just not part of like a shopping experience that's cozy. So be kind, everyone. And I get it, like people are annoying and like something can really like set you off, but like, gosh, like I think that's where we just need to practice like the golden rule and like biting your tongue as much as possible because it really does like there could be like a really bad ripple effect there where like people just don't want to go buy you, you know? And then you become the aggressive vendor who wants that. So, all right. Okay, same thing when someone has no bags, no change, no card reader, like no nothing. I've been to booths like this at Swap. It is frustrating when like, you know, and for the most part I will say like the majority, even the ones that are selling like with piles and no tables, like they will have a bag for you. They will have something to like help you out with. Or they like will go to their neighbor next door like who might have it that they can like spare them, you know? So they'll figure it out. And I think that that's part of the customer service experience. Now, if you've never sold at a flea at all and have no idea about any of this stuff and like you're only there for a day, I can see why it's not important to you to like get some of these things, like get bags or like get change, but it can be really annoying. And I have seen like vendors running around like from booth to booth asking people for change. So I can see even from their perspective how that gets like annoying. But all right, y'all. What do we think? What do we think about our red flags and icks? Yeah, I mean, I think these are like really basic ones. I think that, they're not, none of these are wrong. Like, I can see how any of this could be annoying. And I think like, I'm just like immediately thinking about like the dating shows I've been watching, like I mentioned, where it's like, these can really be turnoffs for people. Like, you know, not having one of these things or like, if someone's like very strongly passionate about someone with like, same thing when like you're dating and like a non-negotiable is like, oh, you have to like make your bed in the morning, let's say. It's like if that is like something that someone believes in so strongly, like you could miss the opportunity of like dating that person. Like it's done. There's like really no way, like, some people might be open-minded in terms of like, they'll ask you, why don't you make the bed in the morning? And like, you might have like really good reasonings. I don't know, you work from home. And so like you take a break or like your dog likes to sleep in your bed and he won't sleep in it if it's like made. Like I can see reasons, right? And again, this is all just one example. So I can see like reasons why, like for things. And I'd like to pride myself. I'm pretty open-minded where like I'll do that. But from like a customer perspective, like some people have like these red flags and they are like non-negotiable. They won't shop that way. Or same thing with like a vendor, like they won't tolerate a consumer that is a certain way, And so like naturally like people butt heads or they get upset or whatever that case is. But anyways, all that to be said, I think we should just kind of like think about our red flags a little bit and maybe be a little. Okay, I shouldn't say that. Everyone should feel the way they feel. So if you feel strongly about certain things, that's fine. But let's go into it like with a little sense of like kindness and like understanding in terms of like the shopping experience because not everyone has the same feelings as you, right? Like somebody might not care that there's a Dunkin' Donuts cup next to the candle that they want to buy. That does bug me because I'm just like, oh, now that employee has to like pick that up and put it away for you and what like, because I've been in that retail space and I know how annoying that is. Or like I've worked at like a local, boutique where it's like you have a stack of t-shirts and someone just pulls from like the middle and then you have to like redo something that you just spent 40 minutes on folding. Like that's annoying, But for someone that's like a non-negotiable, like they don't really care. Like, you're the red flag for complaining about it. Anyways, I love this. I love like relationship red flags, especially when you like watch them and like I mentioned, it might not be a big deal to you, but to somebody it's like a deal breaker. Um, so yeah. that's all I have today on red flags. Maybe we'll do an episode with someone else on green flags. On things that people actually like love about it. Which we do all the time. Like these are just a little nitpicky. But anyway, y'all, I'm gonna continue to watch my scummy reality TV love shows and watch everyone's red flags and green flags in the making. I feel like the term red flag, green flag has like definitely taken off in the past few years, so it's like really really cool to see. Like and things where I'm just like, wow, I guess I didn't realize that was a green flag for me, or a red flag. So, we're learning as we're going here and we're just taking it all in. So, thanks so much for being here. As always, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all the things. Check out the market this week. All locations are open one day during the week and, of course, every Saturday and Sunday. So check out our website for more info, location hours, and all that jazz.